Ladies and gentlemen, it's now time for New Sportz. There's the two-headed Vic. He wants to know if you're ready for a download. A download of Sportz. Victor Allen's New Sportz. Hot, sexy, and everybody, here's the balding one. Victor, here's Vic. Oh, he's not balding today. Okay, there's the hairy man looking like Nick Ashford. Here's Vic.
You know what? Welcome to New Sportz, you guys. Like I said, happy Halloween. This is a statement maker, man. First of all, thank you for that wonderful introduction. And hopefully, when I bring you something, it'll deal with the Halloween spirit wrapped around in sports. Because Mario really took you to another level.
Well, thank you to have the ghost of Nick Ashford here. It's just to do sports, everybody, with the ghost of Nick Ashford.
That's wrong. Nobody even know.
Some of them know.
No, they don't know.
Max he does look kind of like Nick Ashford.
That's a good one, man. I just don't have Valerie Simpson. All right, welcome to New Sportz, you guys. And my first question, I'm going to pop this picture up right offhand. When you see somebody sitting down with their hand to their head, it's not because they got hurt. There was a hurting put down. And over this weekend, I had to ask this question because, look, when it came down to Tim Tebow and the Detroit Lions, people gave them an equal shot of actually competing because Detroit was on that 2-game losing streak. And, of course,
somebody gave them an equal shot.
Yeah, somebody did.
Not us.
We didn't.
Because that would have been ridiculous to me.
I'm going to say this. After the comeback at Miami, I gave him a better shot of showing better. And so the first thing that came to my mind was, okay, this is Detroit. Their defense, when they get locked in, they get locked in. So it's the scheming of the game. So before I went even into all the details and we look at the numbers of Tim Tebow or whatever, I just said, let's swap out quarterbacks who basically come from that kind of style of quarterback who uses their legs and their body, their strengths, their athleticism. And I said, would the Denver Broncos win more against, say other teams with Cam Newton versus Tim Tebow? So the first,
I can't understand. This says,
I know,
would the Denver Broncos win more against with Cam Newton versus Tim Tebow?
I know.
So I had to call the my autistic children to read that one back to me.
It's called reading is fundamental, and you have to write when you're reading. So
okay.
I failed terribly on this one. So let me just say this. Bottom line is, do you think Denver would win more so with Cam Newton at quarterback than Tim Tebow? They both have 2 wins under their belts. Both are like 2 automatically, right?
Pretty much, yes.
Okay, so the difference being
one's a better quarterback.
So wait a minute.
Like a whole different skill set level.
Right.
Now, one thing I will say, to me, Tebow still has the intangible. And I still say that there's people out there that's always been like that. It's funny to me,
right,
Vic, by the way, on the football thing, Tom Jackson,
right,
who I remember when I was in high school was actually talked about for being too small to play linebacker.
Oh, I remember, like
in the NFL,
London Fletcher.
And I'm going I felt like saying, Tom, are you having a short memory? Aren't you an example too of another person who was not supposed to have the skill set to exist in the NFL, and yet you played?
No.
So there's those Fran Tarkington, one of my favorite quarterbacks from the old days, right? Was not supposed to have anything. Couldn't throw. Said he couldn't throw long.
5'10". He was 5'10", maybe 175, 80 pounds. Right?
So that's why, Vic, even though I understand, and I too have to acknowledge the value of just being a physical specimen with all the extra tools. But like I've always said, is it the size of the dog in the fight or the size of the fight in the dog?
No, I agree with you. I think the question becomes is this, and we'll probably get into this later. Okay, Tim Tebow may or may not be getting support from the ownership. I just don't think you can change your scheme of things right in the middle of the season. Go from one style with Kyle Orton at quarterback and then go into this drastically new style with him when he hasn't shown that. So here's the difference. You have last week as a success story with Tim Tebow. He comes back. He has this penchant for coming back in the fourth quarter on comebacks in his unconventional way. You and I both know this, Mark. Give a team time to say, okay, now we're scheming against you, like the Michael Vick theory.
Well, that's up to his coach. See, that's where I go. It's up to the coaches. First of all, to me, I actually do think it's doable and acceptable and happens every day that they adjust schemes.
Right.
Because injuries always happen.
True.
typically you often have a backup quarterback who's not the same.
Right.
So you always have to adjust. The question is, how well do they know the offense?
True.
Like we just read that Carson Palmer supposedly knew 15 plays.
Oh yeah, and nobody's surprised
right.
about that.
So I don't know. I think that you can adjust the offense. I think you can do things.
Right.
And I think it's just to be seen, kind of.
Yeah.
But there's certainly stories of the similar kinds of stories to me have been written over and over and over again.
This is not unique, and we're not saying it should be. I think the writing is really on the wall when they come down. The idea that you actually look at how many turnovers, how many times he got sacked. The idea that he had a quarterback rating of like 3.3. Now, I know that's a statistical measurement that's based on some other factors. I think
I don't even know what that means.
I know. And look, I'm not saying that it means has any value. I think the part that nobody wants to say is, does Tim show you the skills at this time? We know he will. He eventually will get better.
Well, he had some, in other words, I just go to the Detroit big game being no different than Detroit doing against a bunch of other teams personally.
Right.
So therefore, he's already shown me certain things that are promising. So I mean, again, it is what it is, kind of. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
You run a different offense, but in terms of his ability to make a play out of a sack, especially on that team where sacks are going to happen, I think that's valuable.
Well, yeah, and the part that I think he got away from, somebody made a good analogy. He says, he wins with his legs. And if you look at the game, they had lanes open where he could have taken advantage of it. I think he did what they call that thing of thinking too much. I remember I'm watching, for example, Reggie Bush become more and more a traditional quarterback because he gets a lot more touches.
Running back, you mean?
Yeah, a running back. Sorry about that. A running back. And Reggie Bush, because he is now being handed the ball, when you get a lot of touches, you then get acclimated and get used to playing the traditional running back role. But when you're put in something unique like he had at New Orleans, it was very difficult. They wanted him to win on every play, which wasn't designed around a running back.
That's where it gets to the coach, right? Because, again, how many running quarterbacks have had to learn to hang in there?
Right.
Isn't that what Michael Vick was spent forever? He just now.
Right.
Isn't this like the first year where he's actually shown people the ability to sort of hang in the pocket?
Yes.
So that's why I'm saying, again, to me, it kind of is what it is. I'm not one of the people saying woo Tim Tebow. I'm just saying it's not as bad as what some people say either.
Right.
And so if he doesn't practice well, that's one thing.
Right.
Like I say, I've seen enough people who beat the odds over the years. There's a slew of them that did stuff that never were supposed to.
Yeah, and it's a 50-50 shot, you guys. When you look at it, Tim Tebow coming out, as well as Cam Newton coming out, had what we call the professional pundits, whatever you want, of all those who are basically studying technique and everything. Both got the same kind of, they're not ready yet.
How about Randall Cunningham?
Right. Well, for those who can remember that, too. Yeah, he came through the same doorway. It's a 50-50 shot. Cam has elevated and proved the professionals who were basically preseason, the draft scouts and whatever. He proved them wrong. Tim Tebow has yet to do that.
Right.
So what we're saying is that either situation can rise based on other factors, but they were right about one thing. Yes, you need traditional quarterback play along with the other things to work out. Give Tim some more time.
Okay, and again, to me, Vic, this is the part you and I discussed this a lot too.
Right.
It really has so much to do with the mindset of the coaches. We talked about how come certain fads can come to work in the NFL. We had Matt Moore over the weekend.
Right.
Really look wonderful in a lot of ways.
Right.
Again, doing a non-traditional style.
Agree.
And so to me, I always go, Vic, to me it has more to do with the willingness of the coaches to pursue these things, and then often if you have coaches who are willing to make those adjustments and they have the mentality to make it work, then it will work. But I don't think it's any. In other words, it's like that's the team you got.
Right.
It's how you can't coach the same with every team.
No.
So you got to that's part of being a coach to me. So,
Yeah, I agree with you.
Deal with it.
Right. I think the part that they want, it's the part of going that there's just some obvious things in the game that you have to accomplish from a baseline level. I recognize that Tim Tebow haven't, but is he any different than other quarterbacks who had to go through the same window?
That's what I'm wondering.
They needed time. So people got caught up in the hype of the man and who he is, and he represents more as it relates to the common person, the common man, belief, passion, good guy. They let that be fueled more, and I said, just rate him at the level of all quarterbacks coming in. A lot of first-round draft picks and quarterbacks don't make it. It's a long history of it. Yeah, so just wanted to sit back and say I'm not shocked that he didn't perform as well. I just say Detroit's decided to get back to their game and celebrate the Detroit Lions because it seemed like they said we've gone over our hump. It's time now to get back to the game at hand. Now, with all the games that we had over the weekend, I wanted to find out where did everybody focus their attention and what game was most shocking in its end result. And I couldn't help but to say, there were some college games and there were some professional games, and all I know is that there were 4 that came to mind for me. Now, Mar, you may have more.
A lot of upsets in the NFL.
Right.
A whole bunch of upsets.
Right. And I wanted to say what was more shocking. It may have not been shocking. Just surprised you. You know what? I knew he was going to do that. Let me go ahead.
Oh, I'm sorry.
That's okay. No, you're doing the right thing. What we're doing here is trying to find out, and I'm saying we're going to do an impact rating. An impact rating is just 1 to 10, 10 being the most shocking, and I'll read off the 4 that we have, and you just say, hey, that was about a 3 or 7 or whatever the case may be. Okay, rate the most shocking. Washington Redskins were zipped by the Buffalo Bills, dude. I mean, 24-0. Didn't see that.
Not
coming.
as shocking because I expected 24-7.
Really? Okay, so you you thought it was going to be dominated.
Yeah, it was going to be 24-14 at best.
Okay.
To me.
Okay.
At best.
All right.
And so I'm a little shocked they got zipped.
Okay.
But only that they got zipped. I thought they were going to get handily beat.
Right. See, I'm shocked because they got zipped.
Yeah, me too. But I thought it would be a handle. If it had been 24-3, 24-7.
Right.
24-4, like I said, 10.
Right.
Okay, that would have been what I expected, 24-10.
Okay. What would you give the rating? 1 to 10?
On Shocker, a 7.
Okay. I'm giving mine an 8. I believe me. Just them being zipped. That I understand the loss. Just the idea that it was 0. I mean, 0 production. That's shocking to me. Okay. Now, I know the one you just alluded to, Mario. Here's the one. Winless Rams slam Saints in huge upset, 31-21. I knew he was going to say that.
10. That's a shocker. That's totally out of the woods.
Right.
Totally out of left field.
Right.
Totally crazy.
Because New Orleans just came off of the shellacking of that 62-point
everything,
barrage.
for every reason you can name, it's crazy. And that goes to show you that's sports, right?
Right.
On any given Sunday.
Right.
You can muster up enough. You can do it. You can test. You can have your will that day.
It's embarrassing to sit there and let the quarterback of the team that's winless say, I'm not going to play this game, and our backup, Feely, is going to play. And so you go, okay, we got this. And then you come in, and when I saw the score, I think it was like at halftime, I saw it was like 24-0 or something like that. And I was going like, this is unbelievable. So on a shocking scale, yes, I say 10 too. There's no way you could say that you.
That's a shocker.
Yeah, that's a shocker. That's a big one. All right, let's go to this one. Now, Tim Tebow, we just talked about this thing. You're wrong. Yeah, Tim Tebow, awful showing versus Detroit Lions in romp, 45-10. This is not about whether they were going to actually win or lose as much. It's how he showed up in a home game.
He looked like everybody else who played Detroit.
Bad? Except the two teams that beat him.
Right, because, they have made a bunch of quarterbacks look bad.
True.
They really have. And that's why I don't, I go like, you still, and especially when you bring what's the hardest thing, one of the hardest things for new quarterbacks to handle? The blitz.
Of course.
Picking up
the reads.
Okay, so now they say, that Dick, what's his last name? Dick LeBeau.
When you talking about
remember. I'm just saying these types of coaches. Okay,
right.
even on Detroit, they're known for certain kinds of things.
True.
You knew they did it for other people. They come after you.
Right.
They come after you. They come after you. They come after you.
Right. They scheme well because they know that you haven't been able to know how to read as well, and have the experience of dealing with a
And
team
so I'm
like
not
Detroit.
surprised.
Right.
So no, that one wasn't. It's a shocker to me
45
only
to
by
10?
the amounts.
Yeah.
Had it been 30-10, that's what I might have expected anyway.
I expected a close game, a win by maybe 10 or 12 points on either side. Either or.
I would say I would expect Detroit to beat them by over 2 touchdowns.
Okay, and I expected Detroit to say, I expected this because they said Detroit has one. There is a weakness, what they call. They say when they're 4 down, come in. They say you're supposed to learn how to get the quarterback, but tackle the running back on your way to the quarterback. And their weakness is that they were so busy trying to get the quarterback that the rushing of the opponent, they would get right down and come right down to those lanes in the middle, and that they opened that up as a possible gateway for Tim Tebow. He says, hey, look, once these guys are coming after you, you just go straight down.
Well, that's a standard way to handle a rush.
Right. The problem, they said, and I thought he wanted to stay in the pocket and prove himself. And there were lanes open for him that he didn't take advantage of with his legs.
To me, there's an issue with the coaching. I'm not sure that's... Okay. I'm sure that's not the way they want the decisions made.
No, but they wanted him to win the way he's been winning games.
So they're going to tell... I'm not sure what they're telling him.
Right.
I have my own guesses as to what they're telling him.
Right.
But I'm not sure what they're telling him. And I know that they're probably not telling him to do certain things.
True.
Now, but maybe I'm wrong. But that's why I said I don't know. See, to me, those kind of shellackings have so much to do with other aspects of the team.
Right.
You just can't put it all on the quarterback. You just can't. And they love to try to, and I just go, you still got somebody who gave up 45 points or whatever.
Look, first of all, I already know that Denver's going to give up a lot of points. They don't have a dominating or not even an average defense. I wasn't expecting them to stop Detroit, but I was expecting that they put Tim in there to say, we need you to focus on how you won the couple of games and the scoring that you've done the way you have. But once they got in there, they couldn't help but to fall back on be the traditional, do these things that you normally are not strong at. And you're right, Mark.
That's
we
the
don't
coaching.
know. We believe the coach is going to enforce. We can't have you in that one-dimensional way. And
it doesn't have to be one-dimensional. So that's the coach. See, once again, it's the coach. He doesn't have to be. There's a bunch of things that he does.
Yeah.
And then to me, it's not anywhere near. In other words, I go like, I just watched him run a college offense, okay, that was not one-dimensional.
Right.
Okay, so I go like, just coach then.
Right.
Coach, all right? That's all I'm saying. And stop whining and coach.
Yeah.
Could do run some. So I blame you if you come at it with a one-dimensional attack. I don't blame the quarterback.
I agree.
Quarterbacks are almost never calling the plays anymore in the NFL unless you're Tom Brady or
Green Bay
or Peyton Manning.
Peyton Manning.
That's about it to me as far as I know.
Yeah.
The people call quarterbacks who call a play.
True.
So.
Okay, and man, I spelled Michael Vick's wrong incorrectly. Swapped the letters. So on a scale of 1 to 10 for the one on Tim Tebow, I gave it about a 5. What did you give it?
It wasn't that. I would have expected it to be 45. 19
or 20, yeah.
That's so, you know what I'm saying?
Right.
I expected him to score more than 35 points, or if it had been 35-18, that would have, they were going to shellac him by a certain amount to me, period. They just were.
Right. So you expect, so it's not, for you're giving it
about a matter of how much, they're not going to, at least 14 points.
I didn't expect the scoring difference here. That's my 5.
Me too. And the bad coach. That's why I expect the coaches to come up with at least a better attempt at offense. Okay, I just do.
You have to be somewhat shocked when they say, well, the Vegas odds didn't have them winning by 5 touchdowns. That. No, but
I wonder what the odds were. I don't know.
I heard that it was somewhere floating between no more than 10, 12 points, maybe 14. But this is
they usually don't like to give
points.
Odds that are above that because that's a matter of how you bet.
Right. That's right. So that's why my 5. What was your number?
I said 5 is reasonable.
About 5?
It wasn't that shocking.
Okay. All right. What about Michael Vick's Eagles easily dominates Dallas Cowboys 34-7? And I think before you answer, the score doesn't reflect how badly Dallas
it
got
sure
dominated.
doesn't. Vic, it doesn't. And
this was something.
This is
Rob Ryan's defense, who looked like they were doing. I don't know.
Well,
where
which
this
was
team came
worse,
from.
Rob Ryan's defense or the offense that did they get? I think did they go the first half of the first down? I don't think they got a first down, or maybe it's one first down,
Right.
in the whole first half or something.
Yeah, something like
and there was no catches in
True.
the first half by Des Bryant,
Right.
Or
Not to the end of the
or
game.
Jason Witten.
They played man up. On them.
So it's a full team fall apart, man, and that was a shocker by the degrees. Both, it was a shocker by the defense getting dominated so badly, and it was a shocker by the offense failure to show anything.
Well,
Fairly to just.
I know, and here, let me just put the other side over here, to Mario. The way Michael Vick delivered the ball. We say this. It's something about left-handed throwers. Kenny Stabler back in the day. Those who sit back and they just have a spiral, a neatness, and it's one thing to catch a ball when you have to turn and stop versus catching a ball when you're moving.
Excellent.
And what he did yesterday to me was I was sitting there going, your balls look so incredibly accurate on the move, and it seems like you're getting not the pressure. I don't know whether to reward Michael Vick and the scheming of the coach or the failure of the Cowboys, the lack of deliverance in being able to make it more competitive.
Well, let me tell you one thing I will say, too, Vic. I think this should be said, and I wonder if other people are wondering besides me. I really watched the end of that game because I wanted to see Vince Young.
Right.
Okay?
Right.
And I kept saying to myself, at what point do you pull Vic out? Because at the end on that one of those sacks, he got sacked. I was thinking, see, you should have pulled him out by now. I think it is something. I think it really says something.
Right.
That even in the last 5-10 minutes of this game, you didn't see any of the backup quarterbacks play. They kept Vic into the end of the game.
Yep.
And I just thought that I don't know, seemed like that was ill-advised. And two, what did that say about Vince Young? I wanted to see Vince Young because I was hoping he would come in and show something good.
Right.
For at least for like 5 or 10 minutes, Vic.
Right.
Maybe run one series.
Right. I think you hit the nail on the head, but I think there's some other factors that go in with Vince Young, and I think it's not on the field. I think when he gets on the field, he usually delivers the way Vince Young delivers, not a big letdown,
erratically,
and it's not
erratically.
Right? Yeah, he is who he is. I also think that there's a culture and a presence that's there. It's like Sean McCoy. On the running back from the Eagles, how they say he energizes the room. He can't help but to be like this energy, positive force, and it's contagious. I said, well, sometimes those factors, intangibles. I don't know if Vince Young has that intangible.
You think he's just still depressed?
I don't want to say he's depressed.
See, to me, he had a depression problem.
Yeah, of course.
And that's what needed to be dealt with, and that was part of the whole thing with him not handling certain things.
I agree. And I think if you have to step up, I think people are impacted by the attitude you have, not necessarily the play. Somewhere in there, something's missing. But I'm going to say this to go to your point as well. I think they were in such a groove. The Philadelphia Eagles already, they were 2-4 coming. Let's work this, live this groove, because it's been some weeks since we delivered.
5-2, leading the. I had to go look, Vic.
Right.
5-2, the New York Giants. Then 2-3-4.
Yes.
Now.
Yes.
Man, what a division.
I know.
And isn't it a trip to think that they still have a chance?
They have a chance, and they said there's a couple of teams in the league you fear because if they get it turned on, they have the talent to do so. They did allude to Dallas for a moment, but everybody says,
yeah, I did too. I alluded to Dallas for a moment.
I say Philadelphia because they have these speed demons that are so quick and fast. I said, man, they have this quarterback who has elements, McCoy, of Barry Sanders.
What? He really looked wonderful, didn't he?
Yes. Barry Sanders.
Wonderful. The way ooh.
Now
if they could just get, they needed it. They could look like that against other teams. But like I said, we will see. But again, wonderful.
I agree. And why are they winning? They eliminated the turnovers. All right, we're going to go over to our next topic, best competitive game over the weekend. And I know you guys can probably sit back and think of the UFC. You can think of everything, golf. I'm just going to reduce it down to the 3 that I focused on, because it's not the nature of just having the competition, is which one kept you somewhat mobilized on the screen. You couldn't move. You want to sit there and watch it from beginning to end. I listed 3 games. Pittsburgh Steelers locked down Tom Brady Patriots in sound defeat, because I thought that was the clash of the Patriots really ready, or is Pittsburgh about to turn it on? We got our answer. Number 2, St. Louis Cardinals win World Series Game 7. That was Friday night. And I would say this is one of the rarest series that I've seen where so many errors were committed. It was almost like, I call it the giveaway World Series, who made the least amount of errors. So Game 7 didn't have what they call the end of the game. Oh, my God, let's see, take it down to the last out or whatever. But they won, fumbling through mistakes, even with the coach La Russa actually making some questionable calls. And then the one I said, I'm sorry, you get any game that goes into 3 overtime,
almost 100 points,
and scoring fest like this.
That is 100. It's over 100 points.
They were Mar. You know this. They were cramping, dehydrated. Imagine playing over a 3-hour game plus, and you're hitting. You're running. This was about who survived.
Wonderful game. I just happened to turn it on by accident because I forgot, and it was still like going like crazy.
Unbelievable.
And I ended up watching the overtime. I had missed most of the game and turned in and got to watch 3 overtimes.
Oh my God!
What a game! That's the most competitive game.
Yes.
Over the weekend, maybe one of the most competitive games ever.
Right.
Maybe
we didn't expect there was a 7 to 10 point favor for Stanford. And we knew that, look, USC is going to do the best they can. But the way that SC played, they had Stanford trailing, its first game of the year, trailing. And all they had to do is eliminate the turnovers. And they probably would have held on. And so there was a time where a penalty, I think a penalty gave the breath to Stanford. If this penalty wasn't exacted, I think the game was over. But the best game, we both agree. What was number 2?
I think the World Series.
Yeah, it was. Number 2 was World Series.
If any other day, that World Series game would have been the one.
Right. True.
Any other day.
Right.
But that was such a crazy, phenomenal college football game.
Right.
Such a crazily, that's one of the best games in a decade or something. It's just one of those kind of games.
Right. I want to see if LSU and Alabama, which is going to compete, and maybe some of you guys will see this as a post video after the game already. I want to see if it lives up to this. I know the hype of number 1 and number 2, you can't compete with it. But will they deliver on the field where it's overtime, last play? I don't know. I'm looking forward to it. All right, we're going to go to our last segment, exiting out of sports. It's called Do You Believe? And I just want to know, do you believe Tim Tebow took a huge step backwards in his awful quarterback showing versus the Lions in public opinion?
Not at all.
You don't think so?
No.
Think he's about the same place?
No, I actually think he still continues to move forward. I think he's moved forward a little bit, even despite that.
Really?
Because I think there's certain things that he's consistent in certain things, and that's what it reminds people of, his heart.
Right.
So I don't think a loss like this does that to him, and I think ultimately he turns it into showing you just how hardy he is.
Right.
I don't. I really don't. I don't think that. I'm not saying that he's a phenom either. Right. I'm just saying I think he's impressing his teammates because one thing, just players do respect heart. They just do.
Right.
And there's certain things that he just shows that makes you, makes me too,
right,
kind of a supporter of his in general, even though I do think he's limited in some ways. But again, there's a bunch of them been limited.
I would say this, and I agree with you with the energy and everything coming off of last week. I think there's 2 perspectives. There's the insiders who play the game, and then there's the public opinion. And I think there has been, because listening and seeing what the comments were, it is amazing. It was terrible. He looked somewhat lost.
I go, wow, a rookie quarterback doesn't look good against one of the top defenses in the NFL.
Right.
What's new?
Right. No, I'm just saying.
That's why I laugh and I go, like, show me any other. First of all, half you got veteran quarterbacks haven't looked good against the Detroit Lions defense.
Right. No, I'm just saying, I think giving the opportunity, if he had to rate himself, I think he could say, I could have done better just with the same conditions.
Sure, we all, I think we all agree with the rating. It's just that what is the significance of the rating?
Right.
It's just a one-loss game.
Right.
That's all it is to me. It's no more, no less.
Right.
It's not a huge step backwards. I actually think your next question is way more significant in that person's
You just
career.
don't like Texas.
I know. I'm just saying. I like Tony Romo. But Vic, since it's sort of the way you raised the question, made me think that was an actually worse day for Romo than it was for Tebow. To me, I go like, and I'm a Romo. I don't even like Dallas Cowboys, and I like Tony Romo.
I know.
I like Tony Romo.
I know.
And
well, let me
you know what? It's just still you can't even blame him. What was with the whole damn team?
Let me raise the do you believe so people can understand what Mario's going to. It's really, do you believe Dallas Cowboy quarterback Tony Romo lost the confidence of support with his organization in the lopsided loss versus the Philadelphia Eagles? Because you have to grade him as a guy who's got tenure. And when you look at this, the team all failed on this. We know that. This is not a Tony Romo loss. But we know, Mario, you know this. The NFL is a quarterback-led league. They make the most money. They are the snakehead. And when you win against the San Francisco 49ers, ribs cracked, injured and the whole thing, and you get all the accolades, nobody's questioning that, you're getting too much. Well, you get what you deserve. Well, when you don't step up to make your performance impactful as a quarterback, do you believe
I don't remember what he found. He was at one point. It was 4 for 8. You know, he wasn't a lot of passing attempts. No. Actually, I don't, Vic. I actually think that, to me, I don't think he lost the confidence. I think he may have lost more confidence of the public, but I don't think he lost the confidence because I think the team really views it as to me, when you're on a team and when you lose like that.
Right.
I don't think the team ever really thinks it's one person.
No, I know that.
To me, I mean the players, because they know each other, amongst each other what they all did so bad.
Right.
So usually now, sometimes you have teams that point fingers, but more often you have everybody who hangs their head.
Right.
Because they all did bad.
Well, you see, the part that I look at, I say, I watch this. This shows you the mutual respect. I watch games when the quarterback goes down, from the opposing players on a tackle, or they get him on a sack, and whatever the case may be, or they're chasing the quarterback and they hit him, they get up. I said, do you notice that a few times I saw Dallas Cowboys actually when they hit Vic help him up? I said, that's a mutual respect for this cat. I said, if you're sitting on that side going, watch this quarterback.
I saw a couple of things in there that were kind of interesting too.
Right. I said, Tony Romo's sitting up here and I'm saying, I see them going, look at what this guy is doing on the field. And he's been incarcerated for almost a couple of years.
I think he's liked.
All right.
But you know what? He ain't that liked to explain how the Dallas... So here's the thing, Vic.
What?
If you hadn't had I think that were they number 1 or number 2 rushing defense?
Yes, Dallas.
If you hadn't had them look so bad against the run...
Right.
Then it would be different.
Right.
Who looks... See, in that locker room... Who's the most feeling like they choked? Tony Romo or the defense?
Well,
I think it's the defense.
Well, yeah, I think the defense goes without saying. The scheme against them was terrible. They didn't. It was almost like they just kind of.
Oh, come on! I mean, terrible.
Yeah, it was bad. Or it was a great offensive scheme. I think the part that they're saying is, okay, defense already failed. The offense. What happened here? What happened to this wonderful group of? Got wide receivers. You got the tight end of the league.
Bryant. You see him bitching?
Witten. What happened? How come the ball didn't get to them?
Well, and it wasn't because he was throwing bad strikes.
Right.
See, that's why I go like, no, Romo didn't throw a bunch of bad passes in this.
I get it.
No, there weren't a bunch of things that were even attempted to me.
Right.
In terms of the offense.
Right.
They also didn't get a first down, so the offense was never on the field.
So the offense, some kind of way,
never got to play.
Right. It was amazing. It almost reminded me a little bit, Pittsburgh. So you guys know this. So I don't slide anyone. Pittsburgh did the same thing to the Patriots. When you see the time of dominance and time of possession, it was unbelievable how they kept Brady off the field. But we look at them with a different measuring stick and they say, well, this is Brady and the Patriots. I said, no, you look at that time of possession, you're sitting there going, my God, this is unbelievable. They're not getting a chance to play. Dallas suffered the same thing.
Well, that's why I said it wasn't it was basically, it wasn't Romo.
Right.
I was just amazed at what wasn't done.
Right.
And I was watching Jason Garrett and them just not deal with this, and wow.
Right. I agree with you, man. I agree. But you know what that means? It's time for me to get out of here. You know why? No more sports. Go.
Ladies and gentlemen, that's Victor Allen's own New Sports. Written, directed, produced by Victor Allen. That's right, the man the ladies call sexual chocolate. That's right. Tune in. Listen. It's New Sports. Oh.